Hi guys, hope everyone is doing well. As Halloween fast approaches, many people will go out to their local haunts, those haunted houses that pop up around Halloween, and people in scary costumes will run out and try to scare you, maybe even chase you around. Even the most terrifying ones, the ones with like those chainsaws, but without the chain actually in them, but something about that sound makes you run and scream into the crowd, will be all the rave. But what about people who find those just not enough? They want the ultimate haunted house. Well, around 2013, 2014, 2015, such houses popped up and they were wildly popular. They were extreme. They were known as immersive horror. Basically, what happens there is all rules are gone. Gloves come off, and everything and anything is on the table, to the point that you have to sign a waiver to even enter. Now, Netflix recently did a piece on these haunted houses. Although a lot of people feel they shouldn't even be called haunted houses, they're something entirely different. Torture chambers, according to some. But a long time ago, the Travel Channel did an expose on it. And I remember seeing it way back then. A lot of these houses were year round, but the craze didn't last a whole lot of time. And eventually, some of them closed down and some became just a maybe 3-day event around Halloween or maybe a couple of weekends in October. One has remained steadily the most controversial of all of them. It is called the Makamey Manor. Now, in and of itself, I'm not so sure that the Makamey Manor is much different in a lot of ways as its counterparts. But let's talk about the ways that it does differ. So some of the other houses, one known as Blackout in New York, the 17th Floor in California, and the Victim Experience in Las Vegas, all have a lot of the same characteristics as the Makamey Manor, meaning their actors, if you will, are allowed to touch you. Now that wouldn't happen in, more of your traditional haunted houses. They can push you, shove you, slap you, drag you. You're often bound, your hands and your feet. Very common that things are put over your head. Even suffocation. Now, of course, not to the point of death, but even still. Your head is often immersed in water. You're made to eat disgusting things, live things. Some even shock you with, electrical things. Now, a lot of these houses are well up there in price, sometimes exceeding over $200 for a ticket. So the typical house lasts about 30 minutes. And the whole point of it is to push yourself both physically and psychologically to the point where you can't take it anymore. I know that I want to say, is it Blackout? It might be Blackout that boasts that only 30% of the people who enter will make it through. That's pretty good if you ask me, because I'd make it maybe 5 minutes. One person who entered Blackout wrote about his experience, and what he stated was that in the first room that he went in, there was a male actor who was unclothed and proceeded to dance with him. And when he entered the second room, that was taken up a notch, where a almost nude female was defecating, hopefully just simulating it, in a bucket. And he was then blindfolded and forced to touch the excrement and then wipe it all over himself. He was also shoved in a very small closet-like space with a bunch of other people, one would assume maybe to give the illusion of, claustrophobia, to see how long you could take it. He was also pushed about and screamed at and called vile names, also very common in all of these experiences. So the victim experience in Las Vegas also is known to do a lot of the same things. You know, they will scream at you nonstop, they will put things over your head, they will put your head into water for different periods of time. And again, the one in California, which, by the way, seems wildly popular, the 17th floor. People seem to really, wait long periods of time to enter this experience and pay very good money to do so. So, Makamey Manor boasts many of these same types of behaviors. The difference is where some of these other houses exceed over like 40 plus actors. I think at the height of the game, Makamey Manor only had like 4. Now, also what sets it apart is it's free, other than the price of a bag of dog food and a box of dog treats, which the owner, Russ Makamey, states goes to the local animal shelter. Now, one person did state that they inquired with the local shelter if they were receiving this dog food, and they said they had no affiliation to him. But I'm not going to say that he's lying about that, because there's lots of animal shelters. We don't know exactly which one he works with. And, a lot of people say, well, he has 5 dogs. It's probably going to his dogs. Look, when these places cost $200 and he's telling you to bring a bag of dog food, I mean, whatever. You know what I mean? Do it or don't. So when this first started, the Makamey Manor, it was in San Diego. And at the very beginning stages, it was done out of Russ Makamey's house. Now, when the Travel Channel did their piece on him, it looked like they were going somewhere else. From the moment that you sign that waiver to be kidnapped and become a victim, you're, blindfolded and whatever, and you're thrown in this white van. Well, I thought that it was somewhere else, but I guess the participants that have been through it said, no, he just kind of drives you around in a circle to confuse you and then brings you back to his house. I'm not sure. But it does seem that it was done out of his house. At some point, he left San Diego, and there's a whole bunch of, rumors about why. Some say that he was run out of there because the neighbors were so unhappy with what was going on there. Other people say that it was a financial thing. At any rate, he ends up moving, and he ends up in Tennessee, where he starts his manor again. And the neighbors there have been real vocal about how unhappy they have been. Unlike these other places, the Makamey Manor has really been the source of a lot of talk. You have literally people who are boycotting it. If you go on Facebook, there's groups that are actually called Exposing Makamey Manor. Others are, titled Keep Makamey Manor Open. And then there's the official page. Why is there so much controversy about this one when clearly he is not a lone island on this? There are other very similar places. Well, for one, his is reported to last up to 10 hours, although nobody has allegedly ever made it 10 hours. Like I said, one of the other ones was only 30 minutes, which, by the way, if you're doing all those things to me, 30 minutes is like a lifetime. 10 hours? He also used to promote a $20,000 reward for anybody who could make it through. So people would go out there and they would attempt it. And the longest known on record participant was a female by the name of Sarah Parsons, and she allegedly made it 6 hours. And you can go on YouTube and you can watch all the videos of people going through this experience, this immersive horror. And it is vile, folks. I'm going to say that right away. If you have a weak stomach, I wouldn't watch it. They are, forced to put their head in buckets with roaches. They are shoved, they are hit, they are slapped, they are nearly, drowned. It is not pretty. But other people said that that's the longest person on record, but that there was a Marine who stated that he actually made it through the manor. But as he got this close to the end and that the owner realized he was going to make it through, he forced him to stop. And this is something that Russ has been accused of doing over and over. If people are making it close to the finish line, he stops it himself, saying that they are too physically and emotionally exhausted. And even if they say, no, I can keep going, he forces them to stop. Nobody has ever been given the reward money. And I think he has since even stopped promoting it, but you might see it pop up on Facebook. And by the way, when you see the pictures of the manor, it is this like elaborate place. No, 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 no. It is allegedly still run from his home with, tarps around and all of that to disorient you where you truly are. And right now, at this moment, although it claims to still be open and running, he now has implemented kind of a boot camp type thing, which is like your pregame. You have to go through this to prove that, you are emotionally and physically able to handle the manor. And supposedly nobody at this point actually gets to the manor, that he calls you quits during the time that you're doing this boot camp type thing in his backyard. So what is his motive? I mean, if it's really just for dog food, unlike these other places charging like $200 a ticket, they're clearly making money. What is his goal? Why is he running this if he's not making money off of it? Well, according to his ex-wife, Holly, she states he just really likes torturing people. And a lot of people say he knows exactly how to do it because he was trained in the Navy on torture tactics. Although other people have come forward and said he was, in fact, in the the Navy, but that he was a cook and he was not in any way affiliated with training for torture. So who knows? Is he just getting some sick thrill out of it? There's a 40-page waiver. And there's a waiver for all of these houses, and all of them have a safe word, meaning that when you're done and you're ready and you can't take anymore, you give this safe word and then the actors stop. Well, at this point, it is only Russ. Apparently, he doesn't have anybody working with him anymore. And again, he's just doing this boot camp type of thing, but he still makes you sign that waiver. But in its heyday, when he did have people working for him, I'm not sure if they were volunteers or paid, but either way, you had a 40 and still do a 40-page waiver to sign that says that they are allowed to do everything and anything to you and that you cannot sue. That this could include extracting your teeth. He's very big on shaving people's heads and giving you really messed up, weird, haircuts. That's like something that happens to almost all the people that I watched on YouTube go through the manor back when the manor, again, was kind of at its height and people were actually going through this whole thing and not just his little boot camp. They're allowed to shock you, maybe accidentally break your bones. I'm not kidding. They are allowed to slap you, punch you, kick you, drag you, make you eat anything. It says that if you leave there with broken bones, oh well, basically. It's a lot. Like, I'm sitting here for the life of me trying to figure out who the heck signs up for this. Forget Russ. Forget if he's just some sadist who just enjoys torturing people. What is going on with the people who actually sign up to go do this? Well, I thought about it for a long time. What the psychology could be behind the people that actually want to do this. For some people, and again, there's a lot of people on there that give their exit interviews after the manor, which, by the way, a lot of them have said that later that they did under duress to say how great it was, and a lot reported having PTSD and anxiety and nightmares and everything after this experience, which I could see. But it seems like when a lot of people, when they're going through this, it's because they want to see if they can really push themselves. How far can they push themselves psychologically and physically? How much can they take and not break, basically? I guess to a point I can see that I personally wouldn't do it. I would want no part of it. I don't care. But, a lot of these same tactics are used in military training. So, you can't say everybody who puts himself in this position has to have a screw loose because, I mean, people go through this in basic training, right? To see if they are strong enough to withstand being in the military. And look at some of the shows on TV. Look at Fear Factor. They eat gross bugs, so people are doing it in the manor. And, look at Naked and Afraid. Again, same kind of psychology. How far can you push yourself physically and psychologically before you can't take anymore? So I don't think it's fair to say that anybody who partakes in this has to be a bit loony. But for me, I can't wrap my mind around it. I love horror movies. I love haunted houses. I love ghost hunting. I love it all. But I absolutely would not love somebody slapping me. I absolutely would not like somebody to shave my head against my will. I absolutely would not like somebody to scream vile things in my face for fun. I also have read multiple times that when people have used the safe word, that Russ and, his counterparts did not stop for sometimes up to an hour after the people used their safe word. Now, how is this even legal? A lot of people ask. Waivers don't always hold up in court. So how is this waiver good enough? Well, his ex-wife, I believe, was an attorney or worked for an attorney. And rumor has it that she helped write it in a way that would really protect him in court. But also, there's two things here. One is that these people are of legal age and have to be. Even people 18 years old have to even have parental consent. You have to be over 21 to do it without parental consent. So they are apparently, given psychological exams, and physical clearance by their doctor. So if they are of sound mind and they're making a decision as an adult to partake in this, just like some of these shows on television, then I guess it's legal. There is a clause in the law that says that you cannot torture somebody even with their consent. But now comes down to, is it torture? It seems to teeter on it. It seems to be just shy of and allows for him and some of these other houses that are up and running to escape liability. One girl did die at the manor, and here's the thing. She was only 16 years old, so I'm not even sure how she got in there because his paperwork clearly states that you have to be 18 years old. So I don't know if there was a point in time when younger people could do it because Russ started out as a regular, little haunted house type thing. Those neighbors, there's always that one person who, builds this like little haunted house in their backyard. That's how he started, and it kind of grew from there. So maybe this was in its earlier stages, but as it turns out, a doctor declared that she had a heart issue prior to entering the manor. And so the manor was not held responsible for her death. And on record, that seems to be the only death that I could find. There is a lot of people that feel that this sort of thing should be shut down immediately, that these type of, immersive experiences, immersive horrors as they are known, do not fall under any kind of haunted house. They are literally torture chambers, and whether people are agreeing to do it or not, they should be shut down, that it's just plain sick. Tell me what you think. I'm on mixed mind about it. On one hand, I do think it's weird, and I do think that we have to stop upping things. We have to stop trying to make things more and more extreme. Everything in our culture is always trying to make it bigger and make it, crazier, more extreme. I do think that there shouldn't be a need for it, but there seems to be, because they're not running without clients. So, there's clearly people that want this. Again, it seems to have seen its heyday back around 2013, 14, and 15. It doesn't seem to be as popular, although the 17th floor in California does seem to still be really, really popular. It doesn't run year round anymore. They found out that financially it just didn't make sense. I mean, I guess they didn't have enough people for it to run year round. But for the limited time that it's open around Halloween, it does seem to get a lot of people. The Makamey Manor, I think, definitely has seen its day. If the poor guy is out there having people run around in a onesie and, do boot camp, um, and the manor doesn't seem to be really much, if anything, anymore, I would say that it has seen its time. And I think that Russ just can't accept that. He actually is noted on the internet to be a public figure. I mean, this was definitely a really big thing at one time. And if he was doing this just out of his house and became this, well known, whether people love him or hate him, then I mean, kudos to him. I think also a lot of the controversy is less about the manor and more about Russ himself. A lot of allegations from his ex-wife about him being inappropriate with younger people. And again, his desire and his enjoyment of torturing people, but also the way that he seems to constantly be fighting and arguing with people that surround him or people that have gone through the manor. He has been accused of bullying people, of making them say under duress how great the manor was and how great he is. And if people don't go along with him or don't agree with him, he lashes out at them. He writes long derogatory posts about them. He makes accusations against him. Very immature in the way that he handles people. So I wonder if, it's less about the manor and more about the man that seems to be the issue. And again, of course, there was that money issue where a lot of people felt that he was scamming people by promoting this $20,000 reward that seemed to never exist. And in fact, at this time, he appears to be working at Walmart. So not that there's anything wrong with that, but I wouldn't say that he probably has tons and tons and tons of money if he is working at Walmart and doesn't even charge money to enter the boot camp / manor, that he has all this money to give people, as a reward. So was that just a publicity stunt? It appears so. Is he forcing people to end, their experience if they're getting close to winning? That's what, is alleged by many, many people that have gone through through the experience. So tell me what you think about all of this. Is it something you would ever do? What do you think people's motivation is for going through the manor? And what do you think Russ's motivation is? Does he just like, the notoriety and the publicity that the manor has gotten? Is he just in it for fun? Or do you think he has some sadistic ulterior motive? Is this something that's just really enjoyable to inflict pain on people and watch people suffer? You tell me. And would you ever go through it? And what if there really was a $20,000 prize? Would you do it for the money? Me personally, hell no. Hell no, hell no, hell no. Not happening. I would never go through any of them, even the ones that are more legitimate, that have not fallen under the scrutiny and controversy like the manor has. All of these other ones, the ones in New York and California and Las Vegas. No, 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 no. Not doing it. I'm going to stick with, the small local ones where I know that nobody's going to touch me and, everything is just pretend. So I'll see you soon. Bye.